Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks and another match of Beyond All Reason, where today we're taking a look at a match that was recently played on a very interesting map that goes by the name of River Run. As you can tell, it's got quite a few rivers traversing its many, green luscious forests and mountainous highs. It's a beautiful, beautiful map, but it certainly makes things a little bit complicated, especially for some of those Armada commanders. Today, spawning as our blue team leader in the back line, well, the front line. There's really not a back line on this map. Arguably, one of these commanders over here can be a backliner, but essentially there's enough space on this map for everybody to play frontline. But anyways, on the northern side here for the blue team is a Cortex commander, a commander that goes by the name of Fweddy. Fweddy here, the blue team commander, clocking in at 25 true scale and hailing from the land of Canada. Gonna be showing us exactly what he has to put out on the field for this match. This is a bit of a lower level match, so, hats off, feet back, snacks in hand. Everybody get ready and relaxed. We're certainly going to take it nice and easy as we dive into this match here today. Spawning on the other side of the map, right in the middle, right where the red team leader should spawn, it's none other than Balls Prime. Autobots, roll out. Apparently Balls Prime going to be playing as the Cortex commander here in red as well, spawning on the mountain position right here. It's a very tricky position because you are, well, right in the middle of the map. You can see there's multiple different angles where you have to defend. If essentially you're trying to hold this line right here, right? This is your line to defend. Attacks from the northern side can be devastating. Pressure down the middle can be really, really rampant, and indeed it should be. And of course, pressure from any of these angles that falls as well is going to be directed mostly towards the red player right here. So obviously that goes in reverse right now for Airfall here, the green commander for the blue team. But suffice it to say, Balls Prime definitely has a lot of work to do today, and I can't wait to see how we hold up to the pressure. Constructor out on the field right here. We're going to be going for one con into a couple of grunts, into some resbots, into some more constructors. Resbots make a lot of sense because obviously there's tons and tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of energy to be reclaimed from all the trees around here. If we do just a general little selection here, just kind of matching the circle more or less, you can see it's about 65,000 energy available for reclaim. Very, very powerful. Going to allow for a very early start right here into the economics game for the red commander. Well, for any commander that happens to go bots in this map. And I do think bots is the superior choice. That being said, clear the map right there. That being said, Armada commanders do have to make use of ticks very early, very often in the early game to try and find some harassment, try and do some damage across the map. On this map, the only pathway where ticks can cross the river is right here and right here, if I'm not mistaken. It might actually only be this spot right here, but either way, the only spot where the ticks can cross the river is right in this section right here, meaning that the only two islands, I guess you could call them, that can actually touch each other with ticks are going to be this one where the maroon and red commander are playing, and this one where the purple and green commander are playing. Now that doesn't go anywhere for grunts, of course, which are able to just storm across the beach wherever they so please, stepping in and out of that light water and just moving across wherever they can. Gonna start getting into little skirmishes here. If the micro is good, though, we might be able to snag a metal extractor here. Has solar energy on top of it, though, and grunts out here for the defense as well, going to shuttle this down. Nicely deflected right there from Prime, as well as solar energy, going to keep this peninsula secure, this island front line secure, at least for the time being. So this is the reason you might go vehicles, is because their scout craft can actually traverse the water. They don't care about getting their trunks wet. They're more than happy to just dive into the water and pop out the other side. LLT here to defend. Lovely positioning on that. There is another one, though. Another rascal, that is, popping around and dealing with some of these metal extractors here. A little bit of an APM stall right there from the Cyan commander as we lose control of a couple of these because we're microing at home, trying to shut down an incisor on the other side of the map. It's that tricky catch-22 of putting units on the other side of the map and doing tons of damage, but then therefore neglecting your own units at home or your own economy or whatever you happen to be spending your APM on, microing units and not microing it on your own economy. You end up setting yourself back quite a bit. It's a tricky thing to learn, tricky thing to master. Certainly one thing that the pros have gotten really, really good at. And one of those things that the average heroes like you and I, yeah, definitely one of the struggles of learning to play Beyond All Reason. You can see these rascals have just been idle here for such a long time, and Incisor will clean that one up. There's another one down south here. Not sure if it killed a metal extractor. I'm gonna hazard a guess and say it has not. There's no wreckages here or anything. Will finally be microed right here. Certainly could have killed one of these mechs a good long time ago, but I wouldn't actually mind just seeing it used as a scouting drone here. Sending it across the map and just trying to figure out who exactly is going to be playing in what position. Pawns moving forward now in a big way for Mr. Man, the tank commander now. They will find that rascal and they will blast it to smithereens. Resbot very far forward right now for Tempest 905, going to try and reclaim as many of these trees as possible. You do have to be careful though, losing those Resbots, well, For one thing, they're very expensive. You can see well, not 1,000, 110 metal, 1,400 energy in order to pump out one of those res bots. Res bots make producing res bots way easier. It feels like a kind of a bass-ackward statement, but you get the idea. They reclaim a lot of energy very quickly, meaning that the follow-up res bots that you produce once you have a couple on the field can be thrown together really quickly. Flamethrower turret here to blast away at Airfall's commander as it steps forward. We do have an agitator out, though. Pardon me, an aggravator out. Firing away at the incisor light tanks over here for solar energy. All said and done, though, the pressure is more than bearable right now for the Maroon Commander. Just setting up more and more of these pop-up flamethrower turrets. These are nearly 300 metal apiece, so very costly investment to put these up on the front lines. But I suppose it does give you that concrete fallback opportunity here. We have the LLT technically within range of the Dragon's Maw here. Is it within range? It might be able to be within range. Very close. So the funny thing about Dragon's Maw is they actually can reach out quite a bit further than it seems. Their fire effect carries on just a little bit further. So I wouldn't be surprised if maybe this thing would actually be able to fire away at this LLT over on this side. They're built right on the edge of each other's effective firing range. So far, though, incredibly effective. Airfall using the commander to bait the turret into popping its head up so that there's no armor, no shielding, and then using the aggravator to fire away at it is quite precious. Very, very nicely done. Now, it only takes a little bit of repair to keep this up and running. Oh, no. Solar Energy loses the Dragon's Maw on the front line right there. Medium tank run by. Well, 1 incisor and 2 medium tanks, that is. Works out well specifically in this situation where you need to shut down lighter units that are swarming you. Incisor are going to be quite a bit better at dealing with that sort of thing. Blitz takes down the Incisor. Rover and Blitz in tandem, trying to shut down this medium tank. Medium tanks will survive. That is the peril of the medium tank. It's incredibly capable of just staying alive. It has tons and tons of HP, especially for the T1 era anyways. Makes it extremely effective at just breaking into backlines and continuing to outrun and outlive any of the units that you might send to clean it up. Now they're going to find some metal extractors here as well as a constructor. Can we evacuate the constructor before the tanks find it? Switch to the POV right here of Robinfall. Actually, we can switch to the player camera right here. There you go. Zipping it over. I'm actually going to turn that off. That was not where I was expecting the eyes to be right here. Medium tanks on a path of their own right now. Going to be heading towards the metal extractors here. What a beautiful little cue. Yeah, sending the medium tanks around to try and snipe as many of the metal extractors as possible is a wonderful play right now from Robothor, whose perspective we are seeing right now. If we turn player view, you can see this is what the scouting information of the red team looks like. Virtually nothing here. Yeah, actually a very, very little amount of information here. Southern side, extremely unscouted right now, but the Maroon Commander is in a little bit of trouble as some of these medium tanks have found the base. Metal extractors going down. Wind turbines taking heavy hits here as well. Only takes a couple of wind turbines exploding in order to set off a dangerous chain reaction. These are built in the proper formation, but the medium tanks just don't care. The Blitz is not fast enough to shut down those tanks. They will eventually be dealt with, but not before all of the economy right here for the Maroon Commander is ruined. Metal extractors down, wind turbines in shambles. It's going to be tricky right now for solar energy to get back on their feet. We need to immediately see a greater investment into energy right now. Although getting those mechs should be top priority as well. More constructors moving out is ideal. Yeah. Constructor being pulled away from the lab right now. One of these needs to build the mechs, one of them needs to build solar panels or wind turbines for our Maroon hero. Prime going into some vehicles here. Has a Wolverine finally firing away back to counter the vehicles right here for KD-149, who is going for a little bit of a medium tank run by. Beautifully done. Couple of brutes making their way across the map. It's the little moves like this, but noticing, hey, my teammate was able to make a little punch through, doing a little bit of damage to the Maroon Commander. Maybe that means that this line is a little bit softer, and indeed it is. Just like that. Medium tank splitting off right here to try and maximize surface area. Nicely done. Guaranteed damage is always what you want to be going for here in an RTS game and in Beyond No Reason specifically. Shutting down the metal extractors, always worth it. Would be lovely to shut down this E-storage here as well. We're going for a geothermal, and those suck up a tremendous amount of energy. Extremely, extremely energy dense here, so managing to snipe those would be wonderful. Medium tanks stalling out right now. They still could get some damage. Some of these ones that went north actually still finding value here. The red team not reacting to the damage in their backline here. Taking it on the chin, and it's a massive economic detriment at this point. Balls Prime wondering where all the metal is, trying to put an agitator up, but struggling to find the resources for it, wondering where that metal's at. The answer is, it's all lying in ruin. Your base is destroyed, good sir. Medium tanks now blasting away at the constructors that were build powering the lab here to produce units. Units not pulled to try and defend this. We're just going to go ahead and keep the medium tanks rolling to the front lines here. E-storage will fall, and the lab will be shortly fallen after that. Medium tank finds its way into the Brown Commander's base, the Brown Commander's eco center. Loads of wind turbines and E-converters and all sorts of other good stuff like this. Production was separated from this, which is nice because it means that if the production is destroyed, resign vote comes through from the red team. Yeah, the red team just taking it all in the chin, not able to keep up with the pace of the game, it would seem. Red Commander falls right there from KD149. If your production is destroyed while your eco center remains intact, you can always rebuild back to the eco center. You're likely to have build power back there. However, in this case, production has no build power. Eco center has been thoroughly ravaged by medium tanks. Front line is completely disassembled. The overwhelming aggression right here from the blue team has pushed back the front line quite nicely right here. Love the inclusion of the Resbot as well to try and eat up these tanks that have been shut down by the army marching forward now. The red team is in a dire way. We need to see some aggression. Grey Lizard has an army. Has a beautiful position here as well. We're set up for a little bit of a run by. I can imagine these troops moving forward, engaging, falling back, continuing to press, and eventually winning this line. We could also move north here to try and pinch Bone Padre. Bone Father? Oh, that doesn't sound good. Anyways, the Seafoam Green Commander here. Moving the units forward. He wants to send those pawns on an attack run. I think we can afford to be a lot more aggressive right here. Ben the Ninja definitely has the forces to get engaged right here. We have tons and tons of maces available, some Rocketeers mixed in as well for that high damage. We have the Resbots in order to repair things. Well, Resbots, singular, to repair things. I think that's definitely what we need to be going for, but already so much damage on the other side of the map. The Thug Walk has made it into the base here. Slowly but surely, they've applied enough pressure to break into the base of the Maroon Commander. That run by from the early game, not properly dealt with. And at this point, Rocketeers in the backline, Aggravators, pardon me, in the backline. Never a good situation. The Brown Commander's eco is in shambles. We do have a forward lab producing units right now, but the units aren't being sent back to try and clean any of this up. It's almost as if we're just giving up on this backline here. We're just saying, you know what, tire yourself out fighting our backline investments. We'll just go ahead and continue building on the front line. Now that's a strategy I've never seen before, but that means there's room for it to prove me wrong. Perhaps it's the crux of innovation. Forces finally sent north here from Adumas. Trying to clean up his teammates' leaks right now, but there's a lot to clean. We have Rovers and Blitzes moving up to the northern side right here. Big ball medium tanks as well for, well, Robothor as well as Smitty Werbenjäger. Obviously quite a few more tanks right here for the Cyan Commander though. It's the difference those early run-bys make. Just a couple of run-bys early on in the game, and you end up with an overwhelming economic lead. The metal extractors that have been down for some time right here are telling all the difference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 metal extractors down. Definitely hurts quite a lot. Aggravators finding a decent connection against the tanks here at the very least, but they are surrounded. Completely surrounded. Medium tanks falling. Aggravators in tandem. Luckily, the LLT falls right here, buying a little bit of space for the Brown forces to move forward. As the LLTs fall one by one, more and more space is given up right here. KD149 in a little bit of trouble. Commander not the healthiest in the world, but certainly healthy enough to continue applying pressure right here. My goodness. We are bold. The Purple Commander dancing and juking, trying to avoid the rockets while blasting apart as much of this army as possible. I think a D-gun or two would have been a little bit more effective there, but suffice it to say, I mean, scaring back those aggravators is quite nice, and there you go. You walk away with your commander as well. It's about as good a trade as you can hope for. And, of course, you leave all that metal out on the field for the reclaim. Grey Lizard calling the resign vote here. We do have Sheldon. out and available here, but already a massive army of Sheldon for Fweddy, the Uwu Toten, Sheldon smoking, gunslinging. Well, no gunslingers in this composition. The blue commander, though. This is the frustrating part about playing against Sheldon. Once they get up to numbers, they really can just contest basically any army. If you're not fast enough to catch up to them, to jump on top of them, to actually do damage to them, they will just kite you to your death. It's exactly what the yellow and orange commanders are at risk of facing right now. The Sheldon Ball is looking quite menacing too, quite a few of them up here. Massive battle comes to its conclusion as the Cyan commander falls in ruin. Loads of corpses left on the battlefield all over the place over here. Smitty and Robothor are going to be vying for control over this field, no doubt. Whosoever manages to claim all that is going to have a leap start into T2. T2 already up and running, by the way, for Mr. Man, who's gone heavily into T2, but at the detriment of the front line. Now there are medium tanks. And where there are medium tanks, there are problems for the medium tank's opposition. The opponents of the medium tank definitely to suffer quite greatly. Janus firing away at whatever they can. Ooh, nice connections against those blitzes. Ooh, not so nice connection against that blitz. Ends up doing some friendly fire damage. Somebody was telling me that the Janus was friendly fire immune or something like that. I'm not sure if I misunderstood their point or not, but let me be clear. Janus are more than happy to fire at anything in proximity to an enemy. Even if that thing happens to have the same color as the Janus that's firing. Lightning tank here to defend this side. Lovely stuff. Properly porked up over here on the left-hand side, on the southern side.
Battle paused. Battle started.
Pause right there. Realigning everybody. Trying to get this team back into shape, but there are medium tanks everywhere. These leaks have been non-stop and devastating. And I don't know how the red team is going to come back to it. I mean, look at that eco difference. My goodness. Nearly 3 times the eco for the red team as opposed to the... Pardon me, for the blue team as opposed to the red. Commander goes down in base of the maroon commander. Oh, no. Losing the commander in base is definitely a setback. A massive setback. Inconvenience, to say the very least. Devastating right there for solar energy to be brought down by the lowly brute. More brutes harassing the backline over here of the yellow commander. The only one to, well, start producing those T2 units en masse. We do have a T2 lab up right now, but it was producing a Fat Boy for the longest time. Fat Boy's extremely expensive, very slow, very difficult to get into position, but once they are in position, I will say, they certainly have the tremendous potential to blast away T1 units like they're nothing but cannon fodder and trash. It's about the time that Fat Boys and Zars start rolling out to the front line that T1 units turn into T1 trash. Smitty reclaiming a large majority of this reclaim field here, but there is an agitator. Agitating indeed the hot pink commander right here, trying to poke back that commander from this, but it is at the edge. You know what I'd love to see is a little D-gun. You take this commander, you cloak it, you move it forward, and you D-gun down this agitator. That's 1,300 metal down the drain right there for the Cyan commander. They'll never get back. And an extremely efficient way of taking down that static defense. Ooh, the economy explodes in an E-converter catastrophe right here. These run-bys, these leaks have been unstoppable. They've been uncompromisingly unstoppable. Every single time one or two manage to sneak by, it's an entire base we see going down for it. This many medium tanks all over the backline of the red team is not a good sign here. Yeah, the red team in a lot of trouble here, and I think the blue team knows it. A last-ditch effort, a last huzzah, if you will. The brown commander sending forces forward here, discovering T2 metal extractors, loads of constructors, T2 production fully and well under the way. Units not pulled, apparently. Fiend, a single fiend more than sufficient to deal with all this. Especially with some killer self-destruct micro, but... okay. Apparently airfall. More focused on microing units on the front line here. I mean, this is good damage. This could have been shut down very efficiently here, but now we're at the point where we're going to be able to do some damage. There we go. Construction bots fall. Agitators and... Agitators and thugs continuing to fire. What on earth is this? Finally, a fiend is sent back in this direction to shoo away these T1 trash bots. There you go. You can see it very, very easily dismantling all of this. Oh, all right. We do take out the geothermal. Is that 300 metal or 300 energy difference going to be enough to make up the difference of nearly 8,000 energy? I don't think so, and I think the red team accepts that fact as well, as they decide to call it quits here as a wave of fiends washes forward right here. An outplayment from the very bottom to the very top right there as the blue team piles on the pressure wave after wave, and those killer run-bys just kept the economy so well suppressed from the red team that in the end, it will of course be the blue who managed to take victory in this game of Beyond All Reason. Let me know what you thought about it down below. Let me know if I missed anything. And as always, feel free to check out some of the other videos that we've got up and running. Hope you have a fabulous rest of your day, and I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason. Peace out, everybody.